In North Carolina, the State Board of Education is grappling with how history should be taught in schools. The 13-member board is split on changes in what students learn in social studies classes, and, of course, it's all about race. The debate boils down to whether 3 terms should be added to the curriculum: systemic racism, systemic discrimination, and gender identity. Well, Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson, a Republican, insists those 3 terms wrongfully paint America as a divided nation. And he doesn't believe the country is systematically and systemically racist. But this is what is published in the Raleigh paper: an elephant in a Ku Klux Klan sheet, portrayed as GOP members of the state school board with the caption, "We prefer a clean sheet." Well, guess who happens to be head of the GOP led school board there in North Carolina? Well, it's Lieutenant Governor that I just talked about, Mark Robinson. And last I checked, he also happens to be a black man. That whole little cartoon right there is offensive. And Mark Robinson, the Lieutenant Governor of North Carolina, joins me now. And as I said, he is a member of the state's school board. Governor, great to have you back on the program.
Thank you for having me again. It's good to be here.
You know, I think they were targeting you in that offensive cartoon there. What do you think?
Well, you know, I think they were as well. They certainly don't like my thoughts on these new standards. And to be quite honest with you, I find it sad that people who talk about inclusion, talk about, you know, standing up for marginalized groups and standing up, you know, want to promote ideas like Black History Month and all the great things that surround that, that on the second day of Black History Month, one day after we celebrated the events of February 1st, where lunch counters, the beginning of desegregation actually started with lunch counters and the great things that happened there, that a major news outlet, not someone on Facebook, not someone on Instagram, not some private citizen on their personal page, a major news outlet would publish a cartoon like the one that you just saw. It's very distressing to see how that someone of that caliber, or we think should be of that caliber, would do that.
Well, again, this goes back to the whole moniker that they label all conservatives. It says the GOP right there. He's an elephant, that somehow we're all connected with the Ku Klux Klan, which is absolutely ridiculous. I believe that what we're seeing with this systemic racism, systemic discrimination, trying to be infused into our education for our kids, this is all coming from this Black Lives Matter movement. Is it not, Governor?
I believe that it's coming from the left in general, whether it be Black Lives Matter, whether it just be those who believe in leftist dogma. I truly believe that that's where it's coming from. And it's a push towards socialism and teaching the socialist dogma in our classroom, teaching people that America is a bad place, that America's history is something that we should be ashamed of. And let's be clear about this. There's been systems in this country that was racist. We had slavery at one time. We had Jim Crow in the South. You know, we had divided states in our Midwest and in other areas. But by and large, it was our system of government, our Constitution, our founding documents that we leaned on to destroy those things. And it is our Constitution and our system of government now, our court systems, our state and federal constitutions that we use to stand up against injustice everywhere. And for those reasons, I'm blatantly against these standards, because I think that these standards greatly diminish the greatness of this nation and are going to be used to teach our children to hate America.
You know, Governor, and I think it goes beyond that, because when you see what's going on with the Black Lives Matter movement and the left marking everyone that doesn't agree with them as somehow a racist, when you start talking about America as a systemically racist nation, my kid's 11 years old. He goes to a public school in a very big city. There's people of all colors there. This kid, for the most part, is colorblind. The older they get, I know that starts to go away a little bit, and that makes me sad too. But I worry that this education is designed to divide our children where they're not colorblind anymore. And to me, that's the beauty of children.
Absolutely. I think that it plants seeds in our children's head. It plants seeds of suspicion and hatred and division. And that is not what we need. I've said this 1,000 times, Grant. Schools have a mission to teach, not indoctrinate. We need to teach our children how to think, not what to think. And I think that these standards will be used for the exact opposite. Do we need to teach about the bad things that happen in our nation? Absolutely. It is essential that we do that we learn from those things. But do we need to teach our children that they live in a nation where racism is accepted today? Absolutely not. And we need to make that clear to them. And we need to teach them through standards that are going to give them hope and make them know that they are part of this nation and part of this state.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more, and that's why we have you on the program. Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson doing a great job up there in North Carolina. Thank you, as always, for coming on the program.
Thank you, Grant. Great to be here. Look forward to being back.
Absolutely. You're welcome anytime here, my friend, anytime.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them, tell them you want Newsmax TV, because we're real news for real people.